Yo, what's shaking, AC?
Not much. How are you?
You know, I'm doing swell.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we are on to really our part 3 of community marketing.
Right.
So hopefully that last episode where we talked about all kinds of ideas, I sure hope that got people's wheels turning.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get to all of them. I hope that if anybody, if they got their wheels turning or not, that they'll reach out. We love trying to help people with that because it is really how we built the M&M meat shops to almost 500 locations. There's a lot of community marketing. You guys at Control V as a franchise company, that's a big part of it. And it really should be for every franchise.
It should be, yeah. But I think in this episode, I want to talk about why none of that works and how
Not why it doesn't work, but why people don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, I'm not okay with that. Yeah. We're going to talk
why
about
people don't want to do it, why they believe it doesn't work.
What stops people from executing is what we want to talk about. Because, and this applies, this kind of applies again, just human behavior in general. It's not only this happens to franchisees, this happens to franchisors, it happens to people from going to the gym, like whatever it is. So let's talk about some of the roadblocks that stop people from executing, but trying to be specific to community marketing right now.
I think the first roadblock is almost immediately, I have no ideas. Like, what are my ideas? Like, you're telling me to go do community marketing. I have no ideas.
And I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, okay.
Again, yeah. That's okay though. For you, that may be the case, right?
Okay,
for your people.
Fact.
Maybe you need to just give them some ideas and then you won't have that roadblock.
Yeah,
Tell them to listen to that last episode. Okay, but I think actually the ideas is only half the battle. I think the bigger thing is that they don't execute. They have the ideas, but they don't execute. And I think one of those things, kind of going back to our episode, not the last one, but the one before on community marketing, where we talked about, who's responsible for what and why do it, where we talked about understanding that it is your responsibility, and not just really responsibility, I almost call it a privilege. As a franchisee, you have the privilege and the honor of building that relationship in your community. And if you're not into that, you probably shouldn't be a franchisee, because that is the premise of franchising, is that you take the brand into that community and you are the face of the brand. So
responsibility is a good word to use there.
And that's a good one. Yeah, responsibility. And you've got to get over the idea that paid marketing is not going to cut it. Yes, it's good and you need to do it, but you also need to supplement that with community marketing. Is it okay if I sit like this? Am I still on the camera? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not being bought into needing to do it is one of the roadblocks, but I'm trying to help you understand, how much it will help you to do it. And it doesn't have to be this big hosting a major golf event.
Yeah, stunt marketing doesn't need to be that.
No, just like back to the last episode, it can be wrapping your vehicle and carrying around some gift cards, and trying to hand those out. So, okay. So we talked about ideas. Now, okay, I'll give you this. So maybe the things that the franchisor is recommending that you do aren't resonating with you, and you really feel like, I don't know what to do. I don't know of the things, I'm not sure. What you can do is you can brainstorm with your fellow franchisees.
Yeah.
I always say that when you're a franchisee, you are in a built-in network of peers running the exact same business. Why wouldn't you leverage the collective wisdom and brainstorm with them? Hey, what have you done that works really well?
When a franchisor gives you ideas, they're trying to help you, but those ideas are by no means exhaustive. If you've got ideas or you're able to pull on other franchisees to get ideas, do it. I mean, obviously check to make sure it's brand compliant and all that sort of stuff, but you can't just rely on them to just hand you those ideas. Yeah,
and now one thing that should be said here is that the franchisor probably, unless it's really a new, franchisor under with only a few units so far, but even then, they probably know what works best. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage you to try to do the thing that works best.
Sometimes the demographic is different, right?
Right.
Like in Canada, where we get snow, will be very different than somewhere down south.
Right.
So maybe anyways.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you on that. I didn't disagree.
Yes.
Yeah. So I agree on that. So and that's the thing, that there's other things you can do. But I would always recommend you listen to what works for most franchisees in the system and try doing that. So really brainstorming with your peers. So to figure out what ideas you could be doing.
Yeah, I think another roadblock that a lot of franchisees face, especially in this day and age, I sound like I'm dating myself, is they
You're dating yourself? You can't find a girlfriend, so you have to date yourself?
I haven't seen my wife in 37 years.
You're 37 years old,
Yes,
aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways.
I gotta go now. Okay, bye.
So basically, like, she actually left me.
Now I'm here. I'm not your wife. Just to be clear.
So when you're talking about this community marketing and they can't come up with ideas, oftentimes a franchisee will say, but I can't measure it. So I can't tell them or report back to the franchisor, or I can't tell if this is actually a good initiative.
They want to see the results.
Yeah, and in this day and age, everything is so based on facts and data and science and results. Everything is measurable and all that sort of stuff, which is fantastic. But there's this level of just dealing with people, and it's called above the line marketing, getting awareness and things like that out. And you can almost sometimes see the below the line marketing stuff growing and increasing because the above the line marketing is adding to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's definitely, you really have to be doing a combination of things that get you exposure and then things that actually bring customers in. So before we talked about service clubs and being the face of the brand in the local community, that's the exposure side. But maybe handing out the card and saying, come into Control V, here's a free half an hour. That's maybe more on the like drawing them in. I don't know. There's probably technical terms. I'm not a professional marketer. I'm good at it, but I'm not sure what the terms are.
Yeah,
but
I got you.
Yeah, there's that brand exposure, and then there's that like actual call to action stuff. Call to action, yeah.
Call to action.
So another one I hear is that people don't believe it's going to work. So this kind of relates to what you just said.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, I tried that. I tried that. It didn't work. Well, maybe it didn't work because of the demographic, or maybe it didn't work because you didn't do it right. Maybe you should talk to your peers and ask, how did you do this? What results did you get? Or maybe you just didn't give it enough time. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes marketing does take time, and you know, we always need to be marketing consistently, because if we stop, then we see the dip, you know?
Yeah.
So giving it time and just believing in it, and eventually, you know, you've got to at some point decide to move on if the idea doesn't work.
And if you don't have the skill set to know how to do it, like the onus is on you in order to learn that. You know, if you want to set up
or reach out for help to learn it, like your franchisor or your peers in the franchise company, like fellow franchisees.
If you want to set up a booth at a mall, for example, for whatever reason, maybe you're helping dogs get adopted, or you want to sell business or whatever, and you approach the mall owner with like, yo, dude, I want to set up a booth. Is that cool? The mall owner will be like, what? Who are you? Like, are you gonna pay me for this? But if you come in and you're like, man, it's so great to be here. I love this mall so much.
I want to make the mall better.
Yeah, I want to contribute to the mall. I'd love to set up this booth. And
we're going to do a charity initiative or something.
Then we'll be like, okay, now you're talking too much. Just do it.
Okay, but I get your point. So doing it right. And it's kind of like when I see people at trade shows, I see, you know, especially when they start to get tired later in the day. And
they sit down.
Yeah, they sit down and they sit back.
They
and
stand behind the table.
And then they say, oh, the trade show didn't work. We didn't get anything from it. Well, maybe you sucked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's one last thing I want to talk about, a roadblock, is the fear of putting yourself out there. I hear this one a lot with franchisees. They're like, I'm not comfortable with exposing my personal life, whether that's on social media or getting out into the community and being known as the Control V guy or whatever.
It's tough. How do you battle it? Because I'm so comfortable being an open book.
Yeah.
But also mysterious.
Anyway, so what I would say to that, and I have said to many people on this, is weigh it out. And think that through. First of all, why does it really matter? Like, what are you afraid of? And often they'll start to realize, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, are you afraid they're judging you because like other people are going to judge you? Because they're most likely not. And if they do you really care? Mm-hmm. And if they aren't, and you're getting the growth, often they're looking at you and going, wow, good for them. There's that. And then there's also just weighing it out. Like, what's more important to you, getting customers in the door and making more money, or protecting your privacy? Like, and there's levels. You don't have to put yourself all the way out there when you first do it. But I think understanding you became a business owner, and if you want to grow your business, and you should want to grow, that's what you need to do. You got to put yourself out there. So
those roadblocks.
Yeah.
Ready to wrap it up?
I'm ready to wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Go be awesome.